Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother Canada updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is John Shuan. Am I saying that right? Shuan? Shuan? I'm sorry, but thank you so much for your support. I know you guys love when I butcher your names. And if you want me to butcher your name, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Alright, so let's pick it up where we left off yesterday. Netta has been pulling in Emily and Dylan a lot closer lately. She's trying to be like the closest vet to them. So she gives Dylan some advice. She's like, you should probably distance yourself from Emily a little bit. Try to hang out with other people, because whenever I see Dylan on the feeds, I see Emily, and vice versa. They're like always together. It was amazing that I even saw them alone for this. So Netta lets him know, Gary has been comparing you guys to Jillian and Emmett, and he's after you because he lost to Jillian, who was with Emmett. So she's also setting Gary up to be the next big target here after Cass leaves, which is smart. And Dylan's like, yeah, I kind of wish Gary was going this week. And Netta's like, no, we're going to get rid of Cass this week. And then we should try to backdoor Gary next week, put up Dre and William, and then backdoor Gary. So she then brings up how Gary was talking one day like, oh yeah, I'm not really that worried because production would never let me go home this early. Feeds cut! Of course they cut when they talk about that, but Netta was like, oh shit, like that is the most obnoxious thing I've ever heard anybody say. Like, who's that cocky that they would say that? Do you think that production's protecting Gary? Leave it in the comments. Alright, so yesterday, Ika and Dimitri's isolated themselves for quite a while. They were really getting to know each other on a personal level outside of the game, which is fine. Ika was basically interviewing him, like, what do you like in a girlfriend, blah, 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 what are your turn-offs, whatever. Like I said, that's great, but it's not a good idea to isolate yourselves like that from the rest of the house, because people are going to be like, wow, they're in a showmance, even if they're not, or just like, wow, those two are a duo, like, that's a threat, we need to get rid of them. But the funniest part was when Dre came over to them pretending to be their waitress, and she had like this, I can never remember the word for this, a pitcher of water. She had a pitcher of water, and she starts pouring them some water in their wine glasses, and it had, like, grapes in it. So she was pretending it was white wine, and she was, like, pretending to read these specials to them on this pillow that she was holding up. And it was, like, so dumb, but it was hilarious because, like, they were just laughing, but then Dre was, like, totally serious and deadpan about it. It was hilarious. But I'm just wondering, like, does Dimitri's like Ika? Does she like him? Like, what's the real deal here? We don't know, but, you know, either way, they need to make sure that they're not going to make themselves a target by just, like, isolating themselves all the time. So then also yesterday, this is really funny, Gary did Bruno's makeup, and it was a lot. So both of them were planning yesterday on working on their relationship with each other, so they were, like, all too happy to do this makeup thing and spend some time together. So Gary spent like 45 minutes to maybe an hour working on Bruno's makeup, and it wasn't just like a regular daytime look. It was like a full-on, I don't even know if it was a nighttime look. It was like a 2 a.m. look. I don't know. It was a lot. Gary really loves a strong brow, and I mean brow, not brows. Like, there was this much space in between. He loves brow. But anyway, Bruno did not leave the makeup on for very long after Gary was done with it, and we're going to come back to that in a little bit. Cass was trying to work on Karen yesterday because she knows that she's going to need her vote to stay. It seems like she thinks that she has Karen's vote, but she's doing some maintenance there. But we know that Karen is really pissed at Cass for throwing her into the bus to Netta. So she was, you know, pretty much the same campaign that we've heard already. My boyfriend and his family are watching, like, should I stay and fight and risk, like, embarrassing myself with these huge altercations, or should I just go home to my amazing life? And then, of course, Cass is all, Jackie betrayed me. Ned has been after me since day one. Like, it's the Battle of the Persians, and she was, like, the best on season 2, and then everybody was praising me on season 4, and I, like, eclipsed her. Cass's words. Let me know in the comments, you guys. Are you Team Cass or Team Netta? let me know. Alright, so then Cass is explaining to Karen what happened when she went to talk to Netta in the HOH before nominations, because, you know, the infamous conversation has been making its rounds around the house about how Cass threw everyone under the bus. So Cass is like, no, I offered up Dylan and Emily's names to Netta, and then I only mentioned Karen and Jackie because it was obvious that Netta was working with the others and she wanted some other names. But, like, I'm not going after you guys. I'm targeting Kevin and Bruno. I don't think that was enough for Karen. She's still pissed. But Cass threw in for good measure, we can't trust Jackie. She's with Netta now, so you're better off keeping me. Guess what? Karen is with Netta, too. Alright, so then Cass is trying to convince William to use the POV on her. She hasn't given up hope on that yet. So she's telling William, if I go this week, you and Dre are going to be the next targets because you're an obvious duo. People are going to put you up. And it's true. People are going to put them up and try to backdoor Gary. So then she's saying, if you use the veto, Jackie and I can both stay. Because she's sensing, too, there's like this weirdness there because William doesn't want to have to choose between Cass and Jackie this week because he's close to both of them. So she's telling him, like, use the veto on me and we can both stay. We'll just get rid of whoever the replacement is. Excuse me. So then William, bottom line, William is worried that Dre is going to go up in Cass's place and she could go home. So Cass is like, no, Dre wouldn't go up as the replacement. Gary would. I don't know. It could go either way. But William's not convinced. He's like, no. If I use the veto on you, Netta's going to be so pissed that she's going to retaliate by putting up my best friend, Dre. However, no. William would love to piss off the other side of the house. He does not see himself with Netta and all of her crew. He doesn't like Netta, and he imitates her, and he's like, she's all up there like, oh, I'm so powerful. So, I mean, there's a lot of there between William and Netta, apparently, but William tells her, as much as I want to piss off the other side of the house, I cannot use the veto on you, but I might be able to vote for you. So, like, my vote is up for grabs. Alright, so then a little while later, William seems to really be annoyed by everyone wanting to talk to him. He was, like, screaming into pillows and stuff, but, like, what do you expect? You're playing Big Brother, you won a competition, people are going to come talk to you. Did he think he was just going to sit in the corner the whole time? I mean, really. But anyway, I mean, I guess it would be pretty exhausting if Cass was on your freaking ass all day about using the veto. So, back to Gary and Bruno. Gary was really upset that Bruno washed off all the makeup not long after it was done. So they talk about it. Gary's like, I felt disrespected. It was a peace offering that I made to you. I gave you a look, and you wiped it all away because Netta made you feel insecure about your look. And Bruno's like, no, it wasn't because of Netta. He apologized. He's like, I didn't mean to disrespect you. That wasn't my intention at all. It was just, like, really itchy and uncomfortable. And he thought it was more of, like, a bonding experience, like the actual act of putting on the makeup. And Gary was like, no, I gave you a look. So, you know how Gary feels about his looks. They were laughing during this conversation, but Gary was actually upset. So Gary's like, you know what, I can tell that you wanted to talk to me and get closer to me. If you want to do that in the future, we can just talk. Like, don't waste my time by asking me to do your makeup, because I put a lot of time and energy into that. Alright, so they pretty much clear things up, but Gary was pissed about that. Okay, so then Netta, Ika, and Karen were in the HOH room, and this conversation was very important. So Karen was telling them the details of her convo. Lucy's on treadmill. Hi, baby. Karen was telling them the details of her conversation with Cass. So she's like, yeah, Cass told me that Netta, you are working with Bruno, Kevin, Dylan, Emily, Cindy, and now also Jackie. So that's like half the house. They just keep adding names to it. So Netta's like, I'm not working with Jackie. I freaking put her up on the block this week. And she says that Cass is just mad because she exposed her to her best friend. You know, when Netta was all like, hey, Jackie, Cass just told me to put you up. I mean, Netta is working with Bruno, Kevin, Emily, Dylan, Cindy, but she's not part of that. And she is trying to pull in Jackie quite a bit, but that alliance is getting out of control. So then they are also talking about how Gary was trying to get Karen to throw Dre to the wolves. And yeah, I said to the wolves because I feel like under the bus is so overused now. Let's just start saying throw to the wolves. It's more fun. Okay, so he wanted Karen to tell Netta that Dre has been trying to save Cass all week, trying to campaign for her. So obviously Gary is trying to get the target off of himself here and put it onto Dre, just in case that POV is used and they need a replacement nominee. I mean, also for future weeks, but especially for this week. So that's like a pretty big deal that Karen shared that with Netta and Ika. So then Dre and Ika were in the HOH room, and Ika's like, yo, Dre, I'm going to give you a heads up here. She tells her about the Karen conversation while doing a Karen impression, which was actually pretty good. And she's basically like, Gary told Karen to tell on you, to Netta. So she also says that Karen is convinced that Dre is now with Cass, and she tells her, you need to put on your best Halle Berry actress face for when Netta comes in here. You need to look shocked when she tells you about this Karen info, because she can't know that I told you beforehand. So Dre is like, well, you know what? Netta needs to correct what she's done, because she's been spreading all this information around that I've been campaigning for Cass when she should have just come to me in the first place. So Dre is saying that she does not trust Netta anymore. We kind of saw that happening. Dre is definitely against Netta's side of the house, but before it was just Netta's side of the house. Now it's also Netta. So that's pretty interesting. But Netta joins them in the HOH room, and she tells Dre what Karen said about Gary. And Dre's all, wait, what? Like, she's trying to play it off like she didn't just hear this from Ika. So then Netta and Ika's playing along, are asking her, like, is it true? Like, have you been campaigning for Cass? And Dre's like, look, I am 100% with you guys. I've just been playing along with Cass so that, you know, she doesn't have a major freak out. And then she's like, Gary is a piece of shit for spreading around that information. Woo! All right. So then a little while later, Ika and Cass are talking, and Ika lets her know, if William does not use the power veto on you, you are not going to have the votes to stay this week. And Cass, like, I think thought that she was joking or something at first. Like, she didn't realize that Ika was being serious, because she was just like, wait, is this a real conversation? Or, like, are we pretending? And Ika was like, no, like, you don't have the votes. So then Cass is like, well, whose votes do I not have? She's trying to figure it out. She thinks she's got, like, Karen and everybody locked, but Ika's just like, I'm not going to throw out any names. And then Cass thinks that it's Dimitri's who's not going to vote for her. And again, Ika's like, I'm not going to throw out any names. But she's telling Cass, like, these votes are not here, so I'm not going to vote for you to stay because I don't want to be on the wrong side of this. So she's trying to get out of that. All right, so then Cass is like, oh shit, if I don't have the votes, I need to make this POV happen. So she tries again with William. They go to the bridge room, and William is letting Cass know, like, you are one of my all-time favorite players, and I would love for you to stay, but I just can't use the veto on you because I'm afraid that Dre is going to go up on the block. So Cass is acting like she's accepting it. She's like, oh yeah, I understand, like, I feel bad, I don't want you to feel bad, it's fine. But then she's still campaigning, even though she says that she's not. And William is just like, I can't put Dre in danger, leave me alone! He doesn't say that, but you know he's thinking it. All right, so this morning, they finally have the power veto ceremony. Sometimes that one day between the power veto competition and the ceremony can seem like forever, right? All right, so they had the ceremony. William did not use it, which means that either Cass or Jackie will be leaving on Thursday. And from what people were saying, it sounds like Dre was really pissed off after the ceremony. Other people noticed it, which is not a good move for Dre. So Bruno and Ika were talking about it in the storage room, and Ika's trying to play it off like Dre is just pissed at Gary and that she's targeting him now, which she is pissed at Gary. I don't know that she's necessarily targeting him because I think Gary is more on her side. She wants to go more after Netta and her people. But Bruno is happy to hear that because he's going after Gary too. So then they both share that they've already told Cass that they're voting her out, blah, blah, blah. Moving on. Dre was talking to Jackie in the pink room, trying to clear some stuff up. There's been some weirdness between these two. I mean, they're supposedly working together in the Leftovers Alliance, but it's been weird because Dre has been campaigning for Cass this week, and Jackie's up on the block against her. So Dre's like, I want to let you know, you have my vote this week, but I'm not telling Cass until Wednesday night. So, like, keep it on the down low. So then Dre is like, I have something else I need to talk to you about. I understand that Cass threw you under the bus this week, but you need to be really careful about what information you're giving out to people all around the house. Because she's pissed that she threw Cass under the bus after Cass betrayed her, which, whatever. But she's telling, I was going to say Jessica. That's not a person on this season. She's telling Jackie, if William threw my name out there to somebody, yeah, I'd be pissed, but I would go to him. I wouldn't tell everyone about it. So Jackie's just like, well, I felt like I needed to do that, blah, blah, blah. So then Jackie's telling her, I feel like you've been avoiding me this week, and you've been hanging out with Cass a lot lately, and it's been making me feel really weird. And Dre's like, well, I don't want to draw attention to the leftovers, because that would be really bad. We don't want the target on us. Guess what? It already is, and it's not on Jackie anymore. But anyway, Jackie feels a little bit insecure in that alliance, because William and Dre are so close. She's kind of like the third wheel. But anyway, we've got 3 days until the eviction. You know Cass is not just going to roll over and die. I would be really surprised if she did. So I'm sure she's trying to come up with a plan right now to save herself. Should be an interesting / exhausting next few days. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. And until tomorrow, much love.